Welcome back to the Slasher Siblings podcast. I'm your co-host Cicely.
I'm your host Hayden.
And your other co-host Matthew is here today. Matthew, thanks for joining us. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know you're booked and busy, so we really appreciate that. Today we're talking about the movie X. It came out in 2022. It's rated R. It's an hour and 45 minutes long. It got a 6.5 out of 10 on IMDb. In 1979, a group of young filmmakers set out to make an adult film in rural Texas. But when their reclusive elderly hosts catch them in the act, the crew find themselves fighting for their lives.
And then the question?
Question from last week. Matthew, do you want to read it? No, okay. What 1986 horror movie features cameos from Ozzy Osbourne and Gene Simmons? Answer, Trick or Treat.
Trick or Treat.
Pretty cool.
You knew that one, good job. If not,
better luck next time, I guess.
So this will be the first real episode on officially YouTube after telling everyone about it. I know we told you about it last week, but this will be the first episode that has released on there after being informed about it. And we want to appreciate everyone who will be, or who's, listening on YouTube and subscribing on YouTube and stuff. And I want to thank you for listening, period, really. So
yeah, thank you.
So
if you're still here.
If you're still here, yeah. So let's get into this movie here. This is kind of like a unique movie, for sure, to say the least.
To say the very least.
But we'll get more into that part.
I thought,
at the end.
First of all, the casting was really good.
Excellent.
Yeah. I didn't realize Brittany Snow was in it. Kid Cudi, obviously. I knew that, but then yeah! There's a lot more of Kid Cudi than I knew. I didn't realize he was like a main character, so that's cool.
But we'll get into that towards the end, a little more in detail.
Okay.
But the opening shot of cops pulling up to the house, I thought was really cool. And, tiny spoiler alert, because if you're, listening to this, it's already a spoiler as it is, but it's, showing what happens at the end of the movie at the beginning. And it's like, it's kind of pulling you in, kind of like what, happened. And then it, displays what happened. But, it hooks you into the movie because the cops and everything are going around looking at all these different, like, bodies on the ground and all this blood everywhere, and then they go down in the basement, and the deputy or whatever says, "Sheriff, you might want to come look at this." They go down, he's like, "Oh, holy God."
Yeah.
And then it just cuts there. Or I forget what he said. Or he said, "Oh my God," or something.
He said something like that.
He said something like that, but then it just cuts there. And that's the hook.
That's how it gets you in.
Yeah,
like, kind of shows you what's going to happen, and then it's like, what?
We're not going to show you, though.
Yep.
But it was a good way for me to get hooked to this movie. It was they did a good job of that one. And then in the very next scene there, they were coming out of the building that looked like kind of like a sign. It was like a strip club or whatever, but it was still like cool that it kind of looked like in Jaws, that sign that says "Welcome to Amity," and it has like someone painted a shark on it halfway through the movie. It reminds me of that.
Yeah.
Kind of like a welcome to whatever city,
wherever we are.
But like that's what it looked like that, and I thought it was really cool. It's kind of funny that it's a strip club inside, so it's kind of like welcoming you to the strip club, but it's still kind of nice funny
that they have a sign for that.
Right. And then I also thought it was hilarious when they get into the van and it says plowing service.
That's fucked.
And they're going to make a porno. in a plowing service van. It's really funny.
Really punny.
Punny. But then I thought the
Sorry.
boyfriend talk was really funny. The Brittany Snow's character, Bobby Lynn, I think her name was. She said, "Your boyfriend's kind of cute." What did she say? Oh, do you always help him with his movies? She's like, sometimes, yeah. And she's like, is that your boyfriend? Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious. Just the because they're I guess you could say co-stars.
Yeah.
I guess that would be considered the correct word for that. But it's really funny that she was like nonchalant, like, yeah, sometimes. Yeah. But the beginning of this movie, like a good quarter of it is just like a lot of really good comedy, I think.
Yeah.
Until it starts to get into the actual basis of the movie. Is that right? I
Yeah.
thought so.
No, I agree, Matthew. I agree.
But then they're getting in the van and she's like, I can't stand this. I'm calling my agent. I thought that was really funny because what do porn stars really have an agent?
Yeah, do they have? Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know. We'll have to Google that one.
Do porn stars have agents?
Asking for a friend.
Asking for a friend, right? But I thought it was just real funny where she was like, I'm calling my agent. She's like, get in the damn van. I like the chemistry between all the...
Yeah, they have pretty good chemistry.
Right. And then the cow got hit by the Mack truck on the road.
Uh-huh.
And as they were driving past, they saw the sheriff from the beginning of the movie, which I thought was really cool. That he's in the movie, even if it's in the background, but he's like in the movie more than just showing up at the beginning and the end. We see him several times throughout the entirety of the movie. Isn't that right? You wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know. You're not allowed to watch this till you're 30.
And then the Rain is very cautious. I noticed she's saying something about like how can you guys do it or whatever. Like how do you make movies like this? And then, or no, she asked her boyfriend. She was like, "Well, I didn't know you were making this kind of movie, like
a naughty movie."
A naughty movie. He's like, "It's a movie. I'm gonna make it like cinema, not like porn or whatever." She has a right to be cautious since I don't think she got the full story of like what was going on.
Uh-huh.
He told her, "Hey, let's go make a movie. Come help me with the movie." But
not what kind of movie.
Yeah, exactly. But then they show up at the house and the old man greets them. Am I alone thinking that he is super creepy from the first moment he's on screen?
Oh no, you're definitely not alone in that.
He's super creepy. Yeah. Just the whole movie too, but like from the first moment you see him, he's just super weird. And it's not often that you get a vibe of like creepiness immediately, you know? But still it was still a good way to introduce a character that was like supposed to be creepy, but you didn't quite. Is that right? I thought so.
Thanks for your opinion, Matthew.
But
That's
you
really
also
insightful.
didn't really know like how creepy this guy was gonna be eventually. But
if anything, his wife's creepier.
Yeah, that's
20
true.
times creepier.
But they start making the movie, which there's not much to talk about other than the fact that they started the movie now. So that this is when it's still funny, but it kind of leans away from the comedic parts of the movie. Like I said, it's still funny at moments, but it's like not as much. Like the whole beginning of them getting to the house was supposed to be just, funny, slapstick,
Funny,
constant jokes and
chillin'.
stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Kind of chill before we get into the The scary stuff.
Scary, naughty stuff. But it was also at this moment that there's someone. Well, Maxine went down to the pond to go for a swim. But it's also at this moment that we notice that somebody's watching Maxine in the background, which is extremely weird. There's just somebody in the trees.
That was the first time in the whole movie I was very creeped out.
Exactly. I mean, the old dude's creepy, but
that old lady's creepier.
and yeah, and we don't even know who the person was in the woods at the moment.
I feel like it was the old lady.
Oh, it was. I just
Okay.
mean, like, we didn't know that at this
At the
point.
time, yeah.
Until she comes into full light or whatever. But then I want to take a moment just to talk about Kid Cudi's butt. There was a lot of Kid Cudi's butt in this movie, which is actually kind of funny. Which, I mean, it's not surprising because Kid Cudi doesn't care.
Yeah.
But it's just really funny that there was a full shot of his butt.
Multiple times.
Just Kid Cudi ass.
Yep.
But then we get the creepy scene with the alligator.
Oh my god.
Which it went out of its way. The movie went out of its way to make it look like she was gonna get eaten by an alligator.
I didn't like that.
No.
I was watching that and I was like, okay.
That's pretty terrible if you ask me.
Yeah.
Just the build up of the alligator coming within her vicinity, you know, and those things are silent. You know, you're not going to hear that swimming up behind you, you know. So that was probably the first real terrifying moment, was that alligator just swimming up behind Maxine. And I mean, at the time when the movie came out, you didn't really know that there was going to be, you know, more movies and that Maxine was going to end up living and stuff. So it was kind of pretty crazy, you know what I mean? To watch this alligator come in within.
Yeah.
It got pretty damn close too before she ended up jumping out of the water, you know? But
and she didn't even know it was there.
She didn't even know it was there. But then Maxine goes back up to the house and she has a creepy moment with the old lady. She waves to her. Waves to Maxine. The old lady waves to Maxine and tells her to come up to the house.
Would you?
No. She's way more trusting than I would have been.
I would have said, no thanks.
No thank you. I'm good. I will go back inside.
Go back inside, motherfucker.
Yeah, I'm not walking up to this old lady. And I'm not walking up to this house that I'm already creeped out by the old dude.
No.
But yeah, she goes up to the house, which she's way more trusting than I would have been. And she has this creepy encounter with her inside the house.
Yeah.
She offers her a drink, she drinks it, and then she's calling her beautiful and stuff. But the part that really creeped me out was the
touch. She touched her side.
Yeah, she just poked her side.
And her bare skin.
Yeah, poked her bare skin because she didn't have a shirt on under the overalls. And she just touched her ribs, you know, her rib area. And that's the creepiest part about being inside the house. It's not even the old lady or anything. It was the fact that she touched her. Completely random stranger. And the only other time that Maxine really saw you was in the window. You know?
Yeah.
But
creepy.
Creepy. But then they go to filming in the barn. Was Maxine's scene.
Real quick, did you notice that Maxine looks like the old lady when she's young?
Well, we'll get into that too.
Okay.
They started filming in the barn, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is a part of the movie that was, I guess, a long time coming because, you know, it's called Farmer's Daughters or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Farmer's Daughters. And obviously they were going to do a scene in the barn, and there's a barn around, right?
Yeah.
And the part that I want to talk about, kind of like the funny little parts, was one of the funny little parts was the fact that they poured milk into the bucket under the cow. I thought that was kind of funny that they didn't even like, not that they really knew probably what
how
they
to
were
milk
doing.
it.
Yeah, but it was still just funny that they poured a carton of milk in the bucket before filming the entertainment. And we get a moment where there's a woman in the window, which is Pearl, but it's kind of creepy that she's now staring at them through the window.
Just sitting there watching.
Right? Isn't that right? And she's just staring at them through the window, watching them do this. And it's not so much like them doing it in the barn is weird. It's the fact that they're trying to be as like secretive about it as they can, and they still found out that they were doing that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they didn't tell them, and they said the coast was clear, and they were looking for people to come walking towards the barn and stuff, but then she still found them in there. Which is weird to me. And then the dinner discussion was pretty funny. And thinking of it from like a context of their point of view, it makes sense. Like, yeah, they're together, but it's just like they're in the industry. So
yeah,
can they really afford to be upset that they sleep around?
Probably not.
Because they're already in that industry, and
it's just what's gonna happen.
It's what's gonna happen, yeah. But like they were clearly like some sort of like stripper or some sort of something prior to that. So it's not like they are extremely like, what's the word? Like innocent to it, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Because they were already in the world prior to doing an adult movie. So yeah, from their, point of view, I get what they mean. Like, yeah, we're together, but it's like, it's sex. Like, who cares? But couldn't be me.
Couldn't be, yeah.
couldn't be me. But then it was also at this moment that Lorraine said that she wants in the movie.
Yeah, which kind of surprised me.
Yeah. And like they had a big argument, and I understand where RJ was coming from. Like, no, you're my girlfriend. You're not sleeping with somebody else, kind of thing, right? But then it was like you like introduced her to this world, so she's obviously interested in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was like, yeah, she's your girlfriend, but like you kind of brought her into this.
Yeah, she wouldn't be here if it weren't for you.
Yeah, it's kind of your
sort
fault.
of deal.
So, if you're gonna get mad at anybody, it should really be you. But then RJ was trying to leave by taking the van and running off without anybody for some reason. But then Pearl was kind of in the way a little bit in a pretty creepy scene, if you ask me. Just standing in the middle of the driveway or the road or whatever you want to call it, and her nightgown.
Yeah.
That's creepy. But she also murders the shit out of him.
She really murders him, that's for sure.
She tried to kiss him, and she tries to seduce him. He doesn't want anything to do with that.
Yeah, I can't say I blame him.
Yeah, no, me either. She's kind of
old.
Well, that, yeah. And kind of weird.
Creepy.
And
really old.
Just to start the grocery list there. But yeah, she murders the shit out of him. She stabs him in the throat. And then continues to stab him until she completely severs his head.
Disgusting.
And it's just wild, like, the effects in this movie. Obviously, it's an A24 film, so. But, by the way, A24 loved every movie I've seen by them. They're literally one of my... They gotta be my favorite
Yeah, I haven't been disappointed by them yet.
No, they gotta be my favorite movie studio. Movie studio. Anyway, the effects were awesome for that. Just watching her stab the shit out of him and eventually cut his head off, like that was gross. And then they were looking for RJ, which turns into a pretty gross scene.
Yeah.
So they're looking for RJ, and Lorraine is worried about him, and she asks Wayne to help. Well, they split off. He goes into the barn, and he steps on a nail, and it looked so real. Like, you almost see it, like, go through his foot.
It hurts you.
Yes, it definitely hurt me, for sure.
Physically watching it.
Oh, yeah, physically watching it. And then, he finally pulls the nail out, and he walks over to the wall because he sees a shadow. Why you would walk over to the wall just because you saw a shadow is beyond me. But he's looking through the holes in the wall from where the shadow came from. Gets impaled in the eyeballs. Not a very smart move there, Wayne.
Yeah.
You ended up getting killed. Sorry, I wouldn't walk around with no shoes on. Sorry.
Oh, no.
Not a farm.
Not on a farm.
Not saying that, the shoes I would have worn would have been enough to
would have
protect.
stopped it, yeah.
Would have stopped the nail, but it's like, I wouldn't walk around that farm barefoot. Number 2, if I saw a shadow on the other side of the wall where it was 3 little holes, I'm not going anywhere near it. Maybe more so now after seeing it in a movie, but it's like, why the hell would you go and put your face up against something that someone could easily just...
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just, like, paranoid thinking, but, like...
I am paranoid all the time. Anyone I walk by on the street, I'm like, are they gonna stab
something?
me?
Is this the one is this Michael
this
Myers? But then, it was also at this moment that Lorraine ends up getting locked in the basement. She asks the creepy old man, who she's also too trusting, asks the creepy old man if, hey, have you seen my boyfriend? He's like, no. Have you seen my wife? He's like, there's another flashlight in the basement. Can you go get it? Nope, absolutely not. Sorry. Not going down there. I'll walk out the front door.
Not going down there.
So she goes in the basement, and she finds a body down there. And then she tries to run away. Oh, well, the moment that she finds the body is also that iconic scene where she screams. It's like the thumbnail of Netflix for the movie, and that's probably one of the most iconic shots in the movie.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Is her face when she screams, because that looked like legitimate terror.
She's a scream queen.
Oh yeah, for sure. But like, she was so good in her role, because she did that scene like 100 times, just over and over again. But like, she did it so well that she looked genuinely terrified, like that was the first time seeing the body or something. Just amazing. Which, I love her. I think she's a great actress. But she tries to run away, runs up the stairs, finds out that she's actually locked in the basement with this body now. Great.
Awesome.
See what happens when you're
nice.
too trusting. But yeah, so she's locked in the basement, which sucks. So that's most of the group just split up and splintered off and stuff, which is not good. And the wife is still missing, just completely gone.
How do you lose an ancient lady? How do you lose an ancient lady?
She gets around pretty quick for an old lady, apparently.
She creeps me out.
But she's not exactly missing. Well, he was telling Jackson, hey, my wife's missing. Can you help me come find her? And, well, yeah, let's talk about that scene for a minute. So Kid Cudi's naked in this scene. And
Yeah.
it's funny that he saw or heard somebody outside the door. He answers the door completely naked.
He's got confidence, you know?
That's true, I guess. I also thought it was funny. I never noticed it before, but there's an actual wiener hanging down
Oh, no.
in the shadow. I never noticed it before.
I didn't notice it.
There was like a split second right before Kid Cudi, he says, "Let me get my skivvies," and then it zooms out again, and like he like moves, and you can see it like jiggle. And I was like, "Oh God, I didn't know that was there."
Jump scare.
Jump scare. But I thought that was really funny. And who better but Kid Cudi to have that part
Who
too?
better?
Because that's, he's gonna be up for that.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I mean, it was obviously
Probably not his real wiener.
No, it was obviously fake, but it was like, yeah, fuck it, let's do it. That's
Yeah.
gonna be a good scene. And I mean, it was
Mm-hmm.
hilarious, and I never noticed it until this is my third time watching it, I think. But yeah, that part was funny. Anyway, the wife isn't exactly missing because guess where she is? She's in bed with Maxine.
This part.
So she sneaks in the room, gets naked, gets in bed with Maxine, and just starts rubbing her hands all over her body, touching her.
Yeah.
Rubbing blood all over her from her friends that
First
she
of all,
just killed.
I would have
boyfriend.
woke up the second she walked through the door. That's how late I sleep. I can fall asleep easily, but I wake up especially if someone's crawling in bed with me and touching me, I'm awake.
The touching part probably would have been.
Yeah.
I would have been like, okay, she's really fucking heavy. Well, she was, drugged up.
I would have punched her in the face.
Yeah, well, I'm sure Maxine wanted to.
Yeah.
But yeah, that scream was pretty iconic too, of her in the bed. But then Jackson finds a car in the swamp, so there's a little more mystery added to this movie than we previously thought. But then he ends up getting killed.
I know.
It's a shame because I really liked his character a lot.
Yeah, me too.
He was, I wish he would have been like in the sequel or something. I thought that would have been pretty cool. But then Lorraine tries to escape. She finds an axe and starts to try and break down the door, and she reaches in to unlock the thing, and he starts fucking butting her hand with the gun, snaps her finger, and I assume broke her hand, but like her finger, that was gross.
Disgusting.
It was like falling off after that.
Disgusting.
Gross. But then Pearl ends up killing Bobby Lynn. Bobby Lynn tries to help her because she saw her. She's like, "What are you doing down here? It's dangerous for you to be by the water. You could fall and get hurt, whatever." But then she's like, you what? You slut or something? Or you whore or something. She's like, "You know what? Fuck you. I'm leaving." And she goes to walk away, and she pushes her in the water and just gets mauled by an alligator.
That was awful.
Yeah, that was a terrible way to die.
I am glad that she stood up to the old lady for being a bitch. I think everybody should do that.
But like,
just stating my opinion, you do not have to respect your elders if they do not respect you.
That's true.
Okay? Period.
But it was still the scene where she got ripped apart by the alligator.
That was insane.
Crazy.
That was insane.
Still really cool, though. The effects and the alligator and stuff was really cool. But then the creepy scene where the old man and Pearl, or Howard and Pearl, are getting it on for once, and Maxine's under the bed.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Wouldn't want to be in that situation.
That's gonna be terrible. But then Lorraine ends up getting shot because she tried to run out of the building. She's like, I hate you. I never should have came or listened to you, whatever. She gets blown away.
Yep.
By Howard with the shotgun. Just pretty awful. Kind of sucks because I did want her character to live too. But
nope, not today.
Nope, not today. But her death rattle, I guess you could say, when they were dragging the body in, she moves and like gives one last gargle and kills Howard, the guy who kills her,
Uh-huh.
by giving him a heart attack, which is kind of like
Good.
death from beyond type thing. You know what I
Good,
mean?
I'm glad.
Yeah. Good, I'm glad. But then Pearl tries to shoot Maxine. She misses, gets blown out the door, and breaks her hip on the ground. It's like, good for you. But then the final girl gets to escape. Maxine becomes the final girl. A true final girl, too. She beats the shit out of everybody. She doesn't really get hurt in this movie. Like, she's smart in the movie. And, like, the one thing she wanted was to live. So, you know, that's a true final girl. But it's also at this moment that we find out that Maxine was the preacher's daughter. So it's obvious that, you know, she was tired of the strict rules that she was under and wanted to live her own life and stuff and ran away.
Good for her.
But it's like, so these people, you know, this preacher that these people were watching was actually her dad.
Yeah.
Isn't that insane?
Mm-hmm.
Like the whole twist.
Mm-hmm.
That was like a 360
You're like,
degree twist.
That's an oh shit moment.
Oh shit moment, exactly. But I want to give credit to the final line where they're talking about the camera they found. They're like, what do you think's on it? And he looks around and he goes, one fucked up horror movie, that's what.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's pretty fair that it is one fucked up horror movie. And it was just funny how, like, it was a very self-aware line, too.
Yeah.
It was very, this is a fucked up horror movie, but that also is a fucked up horror movie.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I did want to talk about how, like, this movie is very unique, because there's not... I can't think of a, I guess, adult film type horror movie.
No, this is the only one I really know of.
Yeah,
we'll
exactly.
We'll have to do
so
our research,
it's
but...
very unique in the fact that, you know, is based around, I guess you could say, porn stars.
Uh-huh.
In the 70s, too. And it was very cool that for the first time it was like a terrifying, funny, and, you know, serious at times movie, right? But I really enjoyed how unique it was, and of course, you know, it's an A24 film, so there's can't really be anything too bad about the movie, too. But let's get into some fear facts here.
Let's get into it.
I wrote down a bunch only because there was only like, I think 7 fear facts I could find. But the first one, there's an actual adult film called Farmer's Daughters.
I'm not surprised.
And it starred a guy named Spatling Gray. Spatling Gray, whoever that is.
Okay.
I guess he's like a pretty famous director.
Okay.
But he was like the star of that adult film.
Oh, wow.
Back in his younger days. It's kind of an interesting thing. For the second one, the man in the basement who was hanging down there was actually the guy on the milk carton earlier.
Oh, wow.
You see 2 milk cartons when they dump one in the bucket, and then Jackson takes a drink out of it.
That's so weird.
He was the missing person on the milk carton. Obviously, they don't do that anymore because we don't have cartons, but still interesting.
Yeah.
They reference the movie Psycho in the movie. The car in the swamp is also a Volkswagen Beetle from... Remember in Psycho, the Beetle that he pushes into the swamp to try and... Yeah, so...
Cool.
Kind of a reference and a reference.
That's cool.
I added this part. Mia Goth was Maxine and Pearl.
Okay, that makes sense.
Mia Goth played both characters.
I thought so.
But it took her 6 hours of makeup to put Pearl on every day.
Because I was like, they look too much alike.
Yeah, Mia Goth played both characters.
Okay.
Which she did brilliantly.
Yeah, she did really well.
For the scene with her scream, Jenna Ortega's scream, that iconic scream scene, Jenna was extremely hungover because she went on a bar crawl with Kid Cudi.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
So she was very, very hungover in that moment that we got that incredibly,
That's awesome.
incredibly cool scene. And for my final one is kind of a longer one, but it'll be worth it by the end. Several of the characters' deaths are foreshadowed in various ways. When Bobby Lynn exits the strip club at the beginning of the film, a large mural depicting a blonde woman with an alligator pulling off her bikini is seen on the building,
Interesting.
foreshadowing her alligator attack. Wayne, in conversation with RJ, tells him that people's eyes are going to pop out of their skulls when they see the adult film they made. Wayne later dies by the pitchfork, and it popped his eyes out of his sockets.
Uh-huh.
At another point, Wayne advises RJ, never let a good woman out of your sight and never mention her weight. Howard loses track of Pearl, which allows her to start her murder spree. While dragging Lorraine, he comments that she's heavier than she looks just before her death rattle startles him into a fatal heart attack.
Damn.
Jackson mentions several times that he was threatened by farmers with guns while serving in Vietnam. He is ultimately killed by Howard with a shotgun. Farmer with a gun. The van runs over entrails of a dead cow early on. RJ's blood is splattered all over the grill and headlights, while Pearl stabs him. And Pearl meets her end when Maxine backs a truck over her body, crushing her head.
Damn.
Not only that, in addition, when Howard and Jackson go looking for Pearl, Howard mentions... I said his name right in the movie, like in the rest of the episode, right? I said Howard?
I think so.
Okay. Howard mentions his worry that Pearl will fall and break her hip. When Pearl fires the shotgun at Maxine, the recoil causes her to fly through the air and break her hip upon landing. Which is another pretty, great way to foreshadow a lot in the movie, too. So it's like the deaths were like right in front of our eyes the whole time, which is really, really cool, if you ask me. They didn't just like kill them in random ways. It was like, we're going to tell you now, and then we're going to do it later, which is awesome.
Pretty cool.
So yeah, I really enjoyed this movie, even though I think this is my third time watching it. I give it an 8. 8.5, somewhere in that range.
I'm around that range too.
6.5, I think it was. It's not
6.5. I think that was too low.
That's too low because the actors are incredible. Kid Cudi did an amazing job.
As per usual.
As per usual, yeah. But like Jenna Ortega, fantastic. Mia Goth, fantastic. Even the dude who played Wayne was great too. Like they were all great. And I love that this spawned three movies. But this is supposed to be the last. Maxine is supposed to be the last
one. Cool.
Yeah. So go ahead and read the question.
Who wrote and directed A Nightmare on Elm Street? Easy.
Yeah, should be an easy one there. If you know it, put it on the Facebook. If not, it's okay. So our next movie, sis, tell them what it is.
Pearl.
Pearl, which is actually a prequel to X.
I'm excited to watch it.
It's about Pearl.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's another A24 film, and it's the second in the trilogy, but it's technically the prequel. And we are trying to do the trilogy because I ended up getting a free ticket to go see Maxine from A24. So thank you, A24, and thanks for making great movies as well.
Yeah.
Well, I absolutely love the movies. Not that A24 is going to
Not that they're listening to this,
but it's still cool. Thank you, A24, for the free ticket and the movies.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we will catch you next week with Pearl. Thanks for listening to our review of X.
Thank you. Catch you later.